Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today is a very different video because I'm doing a school related video which I completely did not want to think about. I didn't want to do anything to do with school, but it's been a whole month since I left year 11. A whole 4 weeks I've finished school, which is very weird. I haven't thought about exams. So today I decided to do a things I wish I knew before GCSEs video to help all the upcoming year 11s and the current year 10s who are going through their GCSE preparing phase and all of that. So today I'm going to go over some of my opinions on my GCSEs, some ways I revised, my advice for any year 10s, and opinions from my other year 11 friends who did their GCSEs. So this first segment is Google Forms. I created a whole Google Forms document about my friends, asking my friends about their opinion on school. You'll see it pop up on the screen right now. I did many questions and then I last few bit for their opinion, and I'm gonna read them out, and I'm gonna have to wear my glasses because yes, I'm very blind right now. So first person to answer this was Sanethmi. You've already seen her in my vlogs. So the first question was, when did you start revising for GCSEs? And she said, nah bro, I pulled all-nighters and revised the night before my exam. Next question was, what revision techniques did you use? She used flashcards, mind maps and blurting. Do you have any regrets about GCSEs? She said, pulling all-nighters and trying to cram everything the day before, it doesn't work. Probably should have started revising sooner, which is great advice. And lastly, any opinions or what you would tell your year 10 self? These exams were easier than usual since a lot of the content was taken out and we got handed everything, to be honest. I probably tell my year 10 self to start making all the revision material I need so that in year 11 I could focus on actually revising and not trying to cram everything the day before, which is very true. So the next person was Ashton, my friend. When did you start revising for GCSEs? I revised a few weeks/months ahead and did small revision studying every day in year 11. What revision techniques did you use? Flashcards and blurting. Do you have any regrets about GCSEs? Not revising non-core as much. But any last opinions? Revise for your mock exams. Next person is Chichindu. You've seen her in the vlogs as well. When did you start revising for GCSEs? I revised a few weeks/months ahead and did all-nighters. She picked 2 of those boxes. What revision techniques did you use? Memorizing information, blurting, and for other, she put Seneca is my best friend. Do you have any regrets about GCSE? She said no, because I already got 9s. Me and her, before every exam, I would manifest for both of us to get 9s, so you already know we're getting those 9s. Lastly, any other opinions on GCSEs? / what would you tell your year 10 self? Even though you smash your GCSE, just do some revision, and to any year 10, don't die for GCSE, which is very, very good advice, and I will talk about this at the end. Kirstyn, you've seen her in my vlogs as well. When did you start revising? Nah bro, I pulled all-nighters. So it's a very common theme to do all-nighters the night before, because I did that too. What revision techniques did you use? Flashcards, memorizing information, blurting, and for others she put predicted paper videos and podcasts. Podcast is completely new. I didn't learn about that until like the month that we did our GCSEs, so that was very interesting. Do you have any regrets about GCSEs? She said, not revising continuously. I just revised when I became motivated or came to the reality of the exams. Lastly, any opinions? 2 year 10s revise at the beginning of year 11. Start now. Take your mocks seriously so you get the feel of how the exams are and they get you into serious mode, and mostly focus on your A-level choices. Next person is Kimberly. You've seen her in the vlog as well. I asked, when did you start revising for GCSEs? She put other. I studied the night before, like 1 to 4 hours depending on the subject, but I didn't put all-nighters because she cares about her mental health, which is very good, Kim, that she put her mental health first before GCSEs. What revision techniques did you use? She said blurting, nothing, I just hope for the best. And for other, she put like 20 minutes of blurting, and the rest of the time I prayed and played Roblox, which I have missed playing Roblox for so long because I have got so many exams that I just didn't play Roblox, and I still haven't. Do you have any regrets about GCSEs? Could have easily done better. I think I did decent if I revised. If I was given the chance again, I wouldn't have actually revised. Lastly, any opinions? She said, should have told Miss she couldn't see anything sooner, would have probably improved her grades, which is true to me because I couldn't see in maths the last few like terms, and Maybe if I told her I couldn't see, I would get higher marks, but you know what, we're here. So me and Kimberly both wear glasses, so we just had to struggle. Last person to do this was Aiden, and he was actually the first person I told him to do, but he did it last. But anyways, it says Aiden Chewett, subscribe, aka Kirstyn's #1 bestie. When did you start revising for GCSEs? Nah bruh, I pulled all-nighters, revised the night before an exam. What revision techniques did you use? Flashcards, memorizing information, blurting, nothing. I just hope for the best, and past papers. Do you have any regrets about GCSEs? He said no, because I'm a gangster. Okay then, yeah. Lastly, any opinions you had on your exams? Anything you would tell your year 10 self? To be fair, my GCSEs went pretty well, even though I'd revised the night before for every subject. If I could talk to my year 10 self, I probably wouldn't say anything, because I think things will work out in the end. Very optimistic, and I like his response. So that was all 7 of the Google form answers. So now I'm gonna answer it in my own opinion. Okay, so this next segment is about me and my answers to the Google form and my opinion on GCSEs and how I cope through things like this. So for me, I am a first-gen student in my family, which means I'm the first person to go to secondary school, which means I'm the first person to do my GCSEs. Now this was a very big struggle because I had so much external pressure from my family, even though they were not like pushing, they were like, oh, whatever you get, it's fine. But inside, deeply, I was very pressured to do well, because obviously I'm the first person to do this in my family, and obviously I wanted to make them proud. And therefore I worked very hard on my ways leading up to my GCSEs. So ever since year 11, I wouldn't say I'm a goody two-shoes or the teacher's pet. I'm just someone who is very determined to do well and work for themselves, work hard for everyone. And therefore, when I was younger, I would always do my best in like those little topic tests you get in year 7. And even though they were nothing big, it helped me in the end, because from there I was always in top set or even middle top, which is close to the top. So I stayed top set my whole life, which benefited me massively because I did all the higher papers, I did separate science, I did higher maths, but it did drive me to do very well. And in class I do very decent, I get really good grades for my mock and everything like that. For context, I took art, geography and history. Art was completely 100% coursework this year due to COVID. History, we got one topic taken off, and geography, we had a topic optional. So because of this, we were the last COVID year, that's the year group that's been affected by COVID, and all exam boards gave us advanced information. We had content taken off, so for history I had one less of an exam. For art I had no exam at all, it was all coursework. Geography, yeah, and it goes on for every subject, so each subject you do, there was some sort of reducing in content or helping the students, and I think this is very beneficial, because if I did my GCSEs with no advanced information, with no help at all, like with no content reducing, I would have cried. And praying to all year 10s right now, because they haven't been affected by COVID the way we have, so they are able to go through their whole of year 10 without any interruptions, and they're able to go through year 11 with no interruptions, which is very lucky. But also I wish you the best of luck, because doing it with no help is very hard, but I feel like if you manage your time well and do everything according to plan, it all works out. So here's some advice for all my year 10s right now who are doing this without advanced information and doing this completely independently. I recommend you make an exam timetable right now, an exam revision timetable I should say, because every time I had a mock exam a few weeks before, or a month before at least, I would make a timetable and plan my time very efficiently. So for example, for each of my mocks I would do the topic thing, so each week I would do one topic. Each week I would focus on part of the specification for my mocks, and that really helped because I was very organized. Being organized, I think, is the top priority for me and advice for any of you guys, because sticking to a revision timetable, it gets into your head that you need to revise constantly. And I don't know why I started revising like properly exams, was like a month before my exam. My advice is to start right now. Even if you can right now in your summer right now, is make flashcards. That's the minimum you have to do, is make some flashcards for each topic of your sciences, each whatever you want to do. Make flashcards right now, make revision material right now. It's gonna save you hours during your exam period. I was out here making flashcards the day before my exam. That is so bad, and there's no way I'm gonna remember that information that quickly. So yeah, I really recommend you make all your materials right now. It's gonna benefit you so much, and I feel like having a revision timetable forces you to revise every day. You don't need to revise in the summer obviously, but maybe just half an hour each day. And even when you get into year 11, half an hour to an hour is more than enough for you to memorize your information, because a lot of my friends and us, we all experience the same thing. We didn't revise enough and the timing is just not right. So I really recommend you keep revising constantly, and just don't do it in like the night before, because it's not going to help. In all honesty, it didn't help for me that much. I'd rather be much prepared going into that exam hall than rush everything the night before. And one thing our year group didn't realize is that we had actual exams, and none of us were really motivated. So yeah, you lose your motivation very, very fast. So I recommend doing some right now. Take your exams, your mock exams seriously, because your mock exams are basically practice things for you, and they are there to see how much you've progressed. And for me, it was a way to see how I could go up if I wanted to, and how to improve, because that seat you're going to sit in, that is the exact same exam hall you're going to sit in. And just doing those exams, those mock exams, and being in the right mindset and practicing them and working as hard and revising for them and actually taking them seriously is the best thing you can do for yourself, because not only their practice, you get used to it. So once I actually sat my GCSEs, I was not scared, and to be honest, it went really smoothly, except for my first exam. I was literally crying, but for the rest of them, except for like maths and history, I did pretty well coping with the exam stress. Like, it was just like, oh, I have another exam, like in the exam hall. It wasn't daunting to me, it wasn't scary, because I knew what I was doing, because I know what level I'm working at, and I know that I prepared very well with my revision. And the same should go for you. So you should take your mock exams very, very seriously, because they are there to help you in the end. And even though they're so stressful, and I kid you not, I cried so much, I had so many mental breakdowns, it does help in the end, and it makes your GCSEs a bit more relaxed and chilled, because you already know what's coming at you, you already know what it's like. So take them very seriously, because it does show your progress and what point you are working at. And if you want to improve, that's the way to see how you can improve. My biggest regret obviously was not revising from the very start. I only revised a few months ago, no, even a month before my actual exam. Like, it was April 16th, I was just sat in bed, I was just like not revising at all. So that was my biggest mistake, is not constantly revising, constantly putting in the effort, because I know it would have helped me more and I would have been more reassured whilst I was in the exam hall. But thankfully my all-nighters and my night before revision pulled off, because I was reassured in the exam hall and I was doing pretty well. And overall, my exams were very, very good, I feel like, because I knew what I was going into, because of those mock exams, because of those past papers, because I put the time and effort to revise even a little bit. At least I knew something, and yeah, it really helped. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about how I revised for my GCSE exams. But one way that I revised was super, super weird, and I don't really recommend this technique, but I'm gonna tell you anyways because it was very helpful to me. So one way I revised for all my subjects was, most of my subjects, and this is an example, I got my chemistry book here because it was the closest one to me, but most of my subjects we have books, textbooks, and if not, I'll use my actual book, like my notebook that I take notes in, and I would highlight every single thing. Hold on, let me. So you see this page, all of this is highlighted. And for some reason, memorizing information was my best option, and I have really, really, really bad memory, but when it came to exams, if I highlight something and go over it loads of times, I keep reading it, it will stick in my head somehow, and that's how I revised for most of my mocks. And this is not the only way. I use this method and it's very unreliable, because for some people it's not going to work, for some people it might, and this is one of the techniques they say not to do, but I did it anyways and it worked well for me. And so yeah, I just highlighted everything, make sure I understood the information, and then once I read this thing for my sciences, I would read it, highlight each topic, and then do these questions in the middle. And then during exam season, I realized this at the end of year 11, so when it was literally time for exams, I go onto physics and maths tutor. It's a website and they have a bunch of free stuff, and I would use their topics, like revision things, and they have question papers. They have like pre-made past paper questions just for the topic, about the certain topic, and I would print them out and do the questions as soon as I finished reading the information and applying it. Because if you just read the information, highlight it, whatever, and you don't practice your knowledge, it's not gonna work at all. But for me, I read the information, made sure I understood it, and then did the questions. And for some reason, I didn't think about this until my actual exams and a few weeks before my actual exams. I didn't realize I shouldn't be relearning content that I already know, because for me, I was just like, oh, if I got this wrong, I got it wrong, oh well. That was my mindset back when I had mocks. But then I realized that I should be looking at my mistakes and correcting myself from those mistakes so I don't make the mistakes again. So whenever I did read through this, I would always practice, see what I got wrong, and then what I did get wrong, I'd look inside the book in my notes and reread it, make sure I get it this time, and then do the questions again. Obviously not the same ones, but if you keep practicing and testing your mind, this is gonna get you those better grades instead of just reading everything. And along with these books that I religiously read over 5 times, I'm telling you, before each and every exam, I would have read through this book like 10 times, like the whole thing. On the way to school, before the exam, 5 minutes before the exam, a week before the exam, I just did it. And another way I revise my sciences is use Seneca. I don't know if it depends on what school you have. Maybe you don't use Seneca, maybe you use something else. But for our school, we use Seneca, and that was my best friend. Like Chichinju said, I love Seneca because it does active recall. As they test you, they give you information and they test you at the same time. And that is the same technique what I was doing here. Instead, it's smaller and it's much faster. You can do it within like a whole few hours. You could do the whole curriculum within a few hours, which I think is very good, and it tests you at the same time and it tracks how your progress is and everything like that. And I was that one person on Seneca who'd get like 8,000 XP from doing all the whole topic over and over again, because that's what really helps. And again, going over and over again, you would memorize it way more easier. I'd assign each week to one topic, so that meant 1 week I'll be doing topic 1 for all my sciences, the next week I'll be doing topic 2, and it just kept building on so that I was doing topic revision each week, and that helped massively during my mocks because I wasn't stressing about revising everything all at once. I would revise it week by week, and I would do the same method that I said, highlighting, do all the questions, all of that, and that way I didn't overload myself. And obviously for the real exams, because we had our first papers in May and our second papers in June, I had loads of time to revise. Another way I revised was I don't know if you guys remember way back, but I bought these folders from Muji. They were like £1.50 if I do remember correctly. And now that I took all my notes out, it does look a bit sad. But in each of these sleeves, I would put my subject in them. So for one folder, I would have biology, next I had physics, chemistry, English lit, English language, RE, all of that. And I kept a few just to show you guys. That way, when I wanted to revise, I just grab the folder and revise this way, because it's so much easier than having to shuffle through your notebooks. And this way I could condense loose sheets, any practice papers, I could keep it all in one place for that one subject. And here are a few. So this one was my chemistry one, this one is my RE I think, and then this one's my history. It was just so much easier to be organized and have all your things in one place because it's so much better. That is how I split up my subjects, and this is how I would learn from my mistakes. As I said before, I would make notes specifically on the things that I really didn't understand, and that way before the actual test I would remember only these, and I would prioritize the ones that I don't know and the ones I do know, because I already know the answers to the ones I know, and I know 100% guarantee that I will answer them okay. But with the ones I struggle with, it's better to write something down that I know I'm sure of than write nothing and then get 0, obviously. And it was just better because I understood the course more, and it just made more sense to be reassured that I have all the notes I need and I know everything off by heart. Second, or is this the third? second way I revised was by making these mind maps. Well, they're not really mind maps. So basically I printed out the specification for each subject that has essay based, but with this, so this is my Judaism exam, RE, this is my last one that I did. So this is the specification. So this is everything you need to know and everything you've been taught the past 2 years on the subject, and this is everything that has got to be covered, and this is everything that's gonna be on the exam. And because you're looking at the specification, you already know, like, this is what they're gonna ask you on. Like, go through the specification and make sure I understood everything, because obviously this is the only thing they're gonna test you on. This is everything you exactly need to know. And for each one, there's like a little box, as you can see, and then I annotated it so that all the information, extra added information I need to know would be on the side. And this would help me massively because it's like a quick summary mind map sheet for all my course. So over the 2 years, it's all spread up across here, and this is all the notes that I needed to know, all the key things that if I wrote it down, that would get me a mark. And obviously I did that for this one as well. So how I revised using this is that I would read through my RE book, checking that I went through each part of the specification, then I'd tick it, and then I'd go again, read through my book except annotate it each time, and then that would be my second tick. And my third tick would be reading it all over again whilst reading my book, making sure I have all the information condensed into this one little A4 sheet. And I did that, and as you can see, there are some ticks on the side, and that's how many times I went through the specification. And before the exam I would go through the specification, and this is really, really helpful because 5 minutes before the exam I just read through this and I wasn't in a panic because I have all the information in one place, condensed. Everything I need to know is right here, and this helped me save so much time before the exam, because instead of flipping through my book, reading my notes, I could read this one condensed mind map, this one condensed thing. And it was just so helpful because in the exam I could remember exactly where the information was, and I just retraced my mind to what I've read and memorized, and that's how I memorized through my exams. Another way I practice for maths, especially because maths you have to have a certain answer, is use practice papers and predicted papers. And the predicted papers were very, very close to the actual papers this year, so we were very, very lucky. But for maths especially, I did loads and loads of past papers. If you look at all my notes that I collected over the years, I have such a big chunk of just past papers for maths. And in our class we did past papers every week. I don't know how it differs from other schools, but we did past papers every week leading up to the exam, and I feel like it just helped my confidence knowing how to answer things right and how to not answer things. As I said, I started to learn from my mistakes, so each topic that I did not understand, I'd go on to a maths tutor. I'll link all their names here on the side, but I would watch their videos on that specific topic with the lesson, and then I do practice questions on it, and that's how I improved. And maths is not my strong point whatsoever. For some reason I just don't do well in maths, but the papers this year weren't as bad. But yeah, so that's the way that I revised for maths, was just keep on doing practice papers, keep on practicing your mistakes and try not to make the exact same mistakes. And that's how I did for maths. But for English specifically, I would go through each chapter and I would write all the key quotations from each chapter and memorize that and use it in the exam, because that's what they really want. That is pretty much it for today's video, and if you want to leave a comment on specific things that you want advice from me that I haven't mentioned in this video, make sure to leave a comment if you want to know more, because obviously this video is not long enough for me to talk to, but hopefully my advice was helpful. In conclusion, start revising constantly in year 11. Start now if you can, make flashcards, do the bare minimum right now so that in the future you'll be thanking yourself. But you need to keep your mental health first, and burning out is something I learned through GCSEs, and stopping myself from doing so was really helpful. So that was things I wish I knew back in year 10, and any other advice you want to know, just leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Have a lovely day or night whenever you're watching this. Love from Kirstyn.